Hello, gorgeous people, gorgeous souls. It's been a while and I've missed being here. I missed creating content. I missed sharing all my journey, my downloads, and my wisdom, and all the things that I've experienced. I am back today. Happy Christmas Eve. You may be wondering, where am I right now? I'll share with you in a bit. If you've been following me on my Instagram, you'll know why. But if not, tune in. I have so much to update, but I do have a topic that I want to briefly talk about, or maybe not so briefly. But you know what? This may take quite a while. It could become an hour, it could become I don't know how long, but go grab a cup of drink, water, a drink of your choice, and get comfy, chill out, and we'll have some really casual sharing. Just treat it as you're talking to your bestie or something like that, and your bestie is sharing her life update with you, or Barbie sharing her life update with you. I'm feeling so refreshed because I not only just showered, and I've been writing down some notes that I'll be sharing this episode. I have another note as well that I wrote a few days ago. It's a journal entry. My guides was helping me channel the messages and tracing back some examples, experiences that I went through, so that I can share this with you. For now, life updates first. So it's been almost 2 months since I did the last episode, or any readings on my YouTube. If you're curious, you can go to my YouTube and take a look and browse. I think I've posted at least 3 readings so far. I'm still new at this, but I know it is something that I'll be posting regularly. So the way my reading goes is a bit unique. First of all, I can just channel whenever I like. Not say I like, whether I feel like it, whatever I feel guided to. But I also use the oracle cards, or any cards, anything at all to help me further pull and channel the messages that wants to come true. So it's kind of like a mixture of card reading and my own intuitive channeled messages. I'm claircognizant, so I get my downloads as I speak sometimes, and sometimes it just comes to me. So it's like, it's very interesting, and whenever I'm channeling messages, I feel like I am being taken over by something else, by my guides, my higher self wanting to pass the message on. I saw 333 as I was sharing that, so it's really amazing how my angels are just like cheering me on and just sending downloads to me right now. Even when I'm talking, I'm not really thinking, I'm just talking and chatting and just flowing right now. You can feel it. It's good. If you don't, it's okay. Let's have some chat. Life update. Okay, what was I saying? Okay. Almost 2 months or more ago since my last update, and it's been a wild. I'll just put it as 2 months. It's been a wild 2 months. It's probably the wildest 2 months I've ever had in my life. Because first of all, I moved out, guys. Oh my god, this is such a life achievement for me. It's so fucking scary at first. But I knew deep down that I needed to do it. So interestingly enough, I'm tracing back some memories few years ago. Thanks, guides, for reminding me that, because it was such a pivotal time in my life ever since. So a few years ago, I think 3 years plus ago, there's this angel in human form, basically a colleague. She she's so intuitive. She's definitely a star seed, and she just came to me and she's just like, Christine, have you moved out yet? Or something along the lines of moving out like that, because she said, you know, you're gonna shine so much and be really thriving. I can't paraphrase her right now because I can't remember the exact words, but she said something like that. Like, you're gonna shine and thrive so much once you move out. Now I'm like, I was taken aback by what she said from that, but for some reason it sat with me for so long until this day. I can never forget that feeling when she said that to me. And it sort of flipped a switch inside of me, like it activated me, it planted a seed in me. But of course later on I did not give it much thought, because at the time I was like, move out? What? I don't have I didn't dare to believe in that, because first of all it's scary, second of all, wow, I will have so much to pay, I have so much to do, I can't do this on my own, you know. The little girl in me just like, no, I don't want to be separated from my family, I don't want all sorts of things, right? It's okay, that's fine, we all go through that. And I didn't think much about it. And then fast forward 1 year plus ago, after not 1 year plus ago, almost 2 years ago, when my bestie, I watched her move out. If you're listening to this, you know who you are. Because I accompanied her as she first moved out. It was her first time as well, and I witnessed the things she goes through. I witnessed her glow so much, and she enjoyed so much decorating her space and whatnot, all those things. I helped her to, you know, in fact I stayed over one night with her during her first night at her new place that time. And I felt like, wow, universe, you're showing this to me as if it's a reminder that I'll be moving out eventually as well. It's so funny how things goes, because whatever you're meant to know, the universe will just show you. Whether it's through other people, whether it's through maybe dream state, maybe it's through a book you're reading, maybe you're reading a novel or something, you're reading about someone's story, but for some reason you relate to it, and it feels like you're receiving messages through it, like a sign through it. So whatever it is that resonates right now, even if you're watching this right now, you're listening to this right now on my podcast, or you're watching on YouTube, doesn't matter. This could be something for you as well. If you're going through a huge life transition, whether you've already moved through it, or you're still moving through it, or you feel like you're about to go through it, I am so cheering you on. I'm so cheering you on, and I'm so proud of you. It's really, really not easy at all. It requires you to face your deepest, darkest shadow, which is the topic of the day, the main topic of the day. It just came to me as I was making my new bed sheets and taking a shower. My guys was like, this is the theme of the day, go and write down the notes, I will channel through you. And they only gave me 2 keywords at first, which is light and shadow. I was like, that's it. And then they were like, as you write down the notes, I'll let you know more, something like that. So I have my notes, and I'll just go with the flow, as I use these notes as like the structure, the juice of it. As a sacred pause, by the way. I'm feeling a little bit jumpy energy in the collective right now, because as I was mentioning transition, whenever I'm feeling some jumpy energy, nervous energy. So let's just take a deep breath right now. It's alright, you're safe. You're fine. You're doing so well. Another deep breath. Perfect. Yes. To continue life updates, I moved out, and eventually I'll probably show you a tour of my new place. Not everything is here yet, but for now it's like my couch is one of the best things I purchased for myself in this new place. It's anti-scratch. What is this doing here? Not supposed to be here. Okay, it's anti-scratch. It's comfy, it's huge. Wow, I look good like that. Okay, it's the best purchase aside from my bed, of course. The camera is here, just look here. Okay, for those who are listening on podcast, if you're wondering what am I talking about, like I have the video version of this podcast. You can go to my YouTube. I believe the link is in the description. Ooh. And if you're on my Instagram, the link is on my Instagram, inside my Linktree. It's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can search for the Vortex of a Spiritual Barbie, and that you see my name, Christine Ong. On YouTube is also the same name. Okay. So I moved out. Yes, and it's the biggest achievement of my life. I'm so proud of myself. I'll admit it's been really hard 1 month, at least the first month, but I embraced it because I knew that, whatever that is new for us, whatever leap of faith that we take in life is going to be uncomfortable for a while, because first of all, it requires you to face things that you've never faced before, and that also means facing your shadows, facing things that you probably didn't want to do before, but you have to do it now, because first of all, you're independent now in this case of moving out, and things that requires you to face your shit, like things that you used to not like to do but has been done for you, but like let's say things that my family used to do for me back when I stayed with them. And now that I am alone, I have to do it all myself, right? And that required me to face my shit, and I had to embrace it all and just do it. But what comes after that is actually so rewarding, and it feels so good. It is such a huge accomplishment. I'm so proud of myself. Look at my cute sunburn here. Like, my goodness, I got this sunburn from my first solo trip to the beach. First solo trip as a whole as well. And it's to the beach in Pulau Tioman Island, in early September. And as you got it, I'm like, that is so fucking cute. It's like my mark of achievement, the badge of honor or something like that. I'm so proud of it. So, is there anything else I want to share for life updates? If you guys have any questions, just drop me a DM on Instagram, or maybe in the comments or what. Yeah, drop me a comment anytime. So let's start with the main juice of the day, which is light and shadow, right? So I'm looking at my notes. First of all, dream come true. I moved out. I did it. And I remembered. Thanks, guys. I remembered one thing that I faced, one challenge that I faced when I was searching for this place. In fact, this place felt like such a gem. It's not only high rise, it's on a high floor, and the view outside the balcony is just so abundant. It's full of greens. It's not like the highway or some ugly shit. It's full of greens, and if you're in KL, you would know Desa Park City. It's a place full of abundance, greens, as in like trees, full of nature, and it's something that I really craved for more. And it's also pet friendly. First of all, that's non-negotiable. I feel like I'm so lucky to be here. And in fact, I remember one of my main intention for this new place for me is for me to start from a clean slate, from a blank slate. And you know what? I'm the first tenant of this place. The energy is like so fresh and new. It's so fresh and new. And of course, I opted for partially furnished so I could decorate and get in whatever I need to. Oops, my paper here got crinkled. Anyway, so I had a difficulty searching for the place. I've looked so many, I've contacted so many agents through Property Guru and another one, and always it was so difficult to find because most owners do not accept pet, but that was non-negotiable for me. And I think it was over 2-3 months that I searched high and low, on and off, and at one point I think I've given up at least twice, and then suddenly my guides were like nudging me to search again. So okay, search, contact, almost got that unit but didn't get because someone else booked it. And finally I contacted this agent, and I was like, okay, if it doesn't happen, fine. I was already so tired at that point. So eventually I found it. Like, at first it was a, what do you call that, online viewing. Basically the agent sent a video of the space, and I already felt it, like, oh, this is the one. I already felt it. But of course the ego comes in, the mind comes in, like, no lah, no, you have to go check first. Then I'm like, okay, let's go see. If it's meant to be mine, it will be. I trust that. Okay, if it's meant to be mine, it will be mine. So okay, I went personally to see it. My dad came with me, and immediately I'm just like, this is it. Okay, if you know human design, if you know emotional authority, you will know that emotional authority needs time to think, right? Needs time to sink in, to marinate on the feeling and whatnot. But as I was feeling through this space, I was pretty calm. I'm not like super high or super low. I was pretty calm. And several hours later, not even several hours, like maybe 1 hour later, I told my agent, I want this at this price. And I got it. So I just felt like this is meant for me to start my new timeline, my next chapter, and here I am. And then the shadow here that I was facing is the shadow of powerlessness and really trusting my own decision, really trusting myself, not relying on other people's opinions or feedback affect me that much. Of course, if any opinion come my way, I would still use my own discernment and see whether it is something to take into account or it is something that is biased or fear-based, but ultimately trusting myself, because I grew up to be easily influenced by other people's feedback and opinions, and thus dimming my own voice, and that made me unable to really trust myself, and being really afraid of making mistakes and failure. Like, what if I chose the wrong place? What if the owner is an asshole? What if What if one day I lost my job, I cannot pay anymore? And what if one day all the fear-based thoughts just came up? But in this case, I was I was pushed, nudged to face my own shadows, taking the action towards my dream life, towards my next evolution in my growth. And I faced it. I faced that fear, and I hold that fear in my hands and moved through it. And here I am. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself. So that is one thing. That is just one of it. So the fear of not being enough, the fear of not being able to do things on my own, also personal power, and that the fear of the fact that I don't know enough to be able to move out myself. But along the way, I'm so grateful because I have received so many support, not only from my family, but also my close friends who are always there, and of course my friend the one who has moved out prior 2 years ago. She also taught me quite a few things that she learned, and who you are. My other friend who was always with me, who was always reminding me the important things. And the lesson here is that no matter where you go, you're always supported. Even if you feel like you don't have enough support right now, trust that you are. You are. Whatever you have been through in life, you have always been supported. You have always been supported. The mind will think otherwise. The mind will always think otherwise. So, one thing that I faced when I moved in, during the first 2 weeks, it was really apparent because I felt such a deep hollow in me, which I know everyone goes through as well whenever they moved out. I didn't understand what that was. I was not only homesick, it also felt like a part of me was burning away and dying. You guessed right, it's ego death. So, with every new chapter in your life, whether it's a transition to new career, a new job, new home, new relationship, the old part of you that is not a vibrational match to your new chapter would have to dissipate, to fade away. And that's what we call ego death. It has to die, so-called die, air quotes here, so that the new you can emerge in order to match your new life. So in fact, yes, I was homesick, but when I dove deeper, it is actually the old me who was so used to being in my old place, my parents' place. She had to go. I'm not like chasing her out, but just she was grieving being away from home, and I had to really sit down with that discomfort and accept myself as I am, holding space for myself. And sometimes it can be unbearable that I had to distract myself by doing things in a house, by watching something, by scrolling social media, because that would distract me from the pain, right? But I consciously reminded myself to move back into my discomfort, because that is my shadow, the shadow of, I'm trying to bring out the words here. The shadow of being afraid to be alone. It is also my inner child. My inner child was sad because she had to leave home, right? The word abandonment just came in. This is a tricky part to navigate right now, because sometimes when you go through any journey, certain things come out in layers. And back then, things were coming out in layers as I was sitting in my discomfort, as I was trying to process all the deep things that are going through in my body. So I was feeling a sense of void in myself. Like, wow, it's almost unbearable. And it felt empty. Because remember just now when I said I want to start from a clean slate. And that clean slate needs to also happen energetically. And that moment, as I was feeling super empty, I felt the hollowness. It's as if things are trying to purge out. Really, it's like a vacuum, trying to vacuum everything out. And it's uncomfortable because it's like there's nothing left inside to keep myself full. I'm still struggling to explain this, but if it makes sense to you, you'll get it. If not, it's okay. So basically, my nervous system was also recalibrating in the process, because my nervous system was so used to being in a different environment, which is my old place, and now it's in a totally different space where I'm so much more in peace, in a way, that it's so unfamiliar. My shadow was so used to in that environment, in the old environment, that coming into this new environment felt unsafe. Because it's unfamiliar. When things are unsafe, it means it's unfamiliar. And so my shadow, I see this now, my shadow sees this peace as unsafe because it's not used to it. So it took me some time to get used to this stillness, this space. And it wasn't pretty, of course. I purged, I cried many times during the first month. And in fact, once in a while I still do until today, like December now. But I welcome it because I know my shadow My shadow self really, really needs all the love and attention. It really needs all the light within me to embrace her, to be loved, to be taken care of. So you see, sometimes what the mind thinks is a good thing, which is not right or wrong, by the way. The mind can see something as a good thing. Like in this case, oh, a new place, very good. But your shadow may not see it as a good thing because it is facing something unfamiliar. So sometimes when you get into something new, let's say a new relationship, the mind and the heart thinks, oh, new relationship, I feel so loved, I feel so pampered. But eventually, your shit come up. If you're familiar with the honeymoon phase, you know what I mean. But I don't believe in that anymore anyways, but just an example. When relationships go haywire, it's not so much about the people itself. It's about when you face difficult things that are new to the relationship, things that bring your shit up, that triggers you. So most relationships fail because they are not willing to face their shadow. They are not willing, because the shadows finds the triggers, the newness of the experience they're going through in that relationship as a threat, because it's not familiar, it doesn't feel safe. Where am I getting at now? I just got lost with my thoughts. You'll probably come back to me, but so basically the lesson here is that whatever your mind perceives to be good does not mean that your shadow thinks is a good thing. But the best part is you get to learn from it, you get to harmonize it, you get to love that part of you that feels scared, that feels unfamiliar, that feels lonely. Tune into those feelings. So I'm gonna get into more of this, and I'm not even halfway of my notes. Go grab your drink or whatever and I'll continue. So basically, what is the shadow self, right? Of course, there will be tons of resources out there you can look to, but how I will explain this briefly is that the shadow is the part of you that you unconsciously avoid. Parts of you that you are not willing to face when things get difficult, and parts of you that you unconsciously avoid. It can be disguised as procrastination, excessive procrastination. It can be disguised as poor boundaries. It can be disguised as not voicing out. It can be disguised as doing everything yourself and not asking for help. It can be numbing with addictions, addiction to porn, addiction to alcohol, addiction to sugar. It can be destructive behaviors. It can be negative self-talk. It can be overeating, overworking, overspending. It can be perfectionism, lack of confidence, not resting, and etc. That's a lot. Why do we unconsciously avoid and numb ourselves? It's because the pain that the shadow is facing is too unbearable that it had to resort to something else to avoid that pain. I'm not an expert in this trauma area topic, but what I know is that trauma is stored in the body. It's not something that you can think your way out and heal through the mind. Your mind is resourceful, yes, it can search for the information, the tools and whatnot for you to educate yourself about this shadow work maybe, and teach you ways to heal yourself. But ultimately, healing starts from the body somatic what's that called, therapy and whatnot. I'm not an expert in this, but just an information that I learned, and I'll get to that in a bit of how do I help myself when I go through my shadow period. And in fact, we all have shadow, all humans go through this, and it comes from time to time. Especially if you are a light worker, if you are doing the work, if you're into personal growth, healing, whatnot, it is always going to be a process, and you'll always be facing your shadows. But it gets to be less painful, less hard, if you learn to see the balance and the wisdom that your shadow side is trying to teach you. I'm gonna take a sip of water for a bit. Excuse me. Refreshing. Okay. So shadow work requires sitting in your discomfort and pain and just say, I love you for who you are. I love you and I accept you unconditionally. So oftentimes, when our shit comes out, our shadow will be like, this is a threat, time to defend, take the sword and try to fight, or run away, or freeze, don't do anything. If you're familiar with the 4 trauma responses, which is fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, you know what I'm talking about. Basically everyone will have a mixture of all those responses. It's just whether which one is more dominant. For me, fight is definitely one of the major responses I've had growing up. I've had major anger issues growing up, although I don't really have that now. I still do, just that it's not as reactive as when I was little, because I grew up to suppress a lot, and that shadow of mine became really huge, like a huge shadow. And there's a story that I want to share as well regarding this. It's coming to me really big right now. I might cry, but we shall see. I just want to be real with you because we all go through this in our lives, and I know that I just don't want I just know that you are not alone facing all this shadow, this darkness in you, and I want you to know that you can go through it. Okay, so anger. I've had my anger management issues. I used to be really reactive. Reactive means like when I feel the anger, I immediately react to that anger. I project shit on others. I would raise my voice and scream. I would throw things. I would throw tantrum, I would punch the wall or the bed, I would say things that I don't mean. I remember hurting one of my closest friends by saying things I don't mean as well. And I lost that friendship because of that. I just wish that I can really go back in time and send love to that part of me. I mean, I know I can astral travel and all those things, but basically, how did that shadow came about? Suppression. I've suppressed myself for a long time. Part of it is because it's a generational trauma where my family from generation to generation have been suppressing themselves for the longest time, and I've carried that until this day. Need to touch. I'm having my hands on my heart right now because I need to calm myself. I've suppressed my feelings, my voice for a long time, that my wounded inner child had learned that voicing out and being authentic is wrong. By asking for what you want, doing what you want, basically just being yourself, it means it's a wrong thing. I think the lighting is starting to be a bit dark here. Hopefully you can still see me. Yeah, so I suppressed myself a lot. I was never the kid who is the outgoing type, who is the really social type. I was always by myself, okay? First of all, I was always by myself. Even until, for the longest time, basically. And I never really shared my heart with anyone for the longest time, for at least 20 plus decade. Not 20, 20 decades is a lot. 2 decades plus. I've closed my heart for a long time, and that suppressed a really huge part of me, and I suppressed and I used anger as a defense mechanism. So whenever I feel hurt, the anger would come up to protect me. When it becomes really big, it would end up hurting the other person as well, because I had to really fight for myself so that I wouldn't get hurt. I need to fight and get angry and shout and scream so that the other person wouldn't hurt me. It's like I fight back, I hurt first before they can even hurt me, you know? A lot of people don't know that I have this past. Only my family, my parents, and maybe some childhood friends, but although I don't really get in touch with them anymore, maybe my cousin would, maybe if she remembers. But yeah, my parents definitely will remember because I projected so much on them. Where was I getting with this? So yeah, that's one of my biggest shadow ever, and until this day, I still have that, because it requires, the thing about healing is that it requires layers to be slowly peeled off in order to heal completely. And over the years, I've healed some, but there's still quite a bit to be healed, because it happens in layers, because the more we suppress ourselves, the more layer it accumulates, right? So to undo that, to peel everything, it comes off in layers. So shadow work or whatever healing you're doing, inner child healing, whatever, it comes off layer by layer. It's not just a one-time thing. Not always, anyway. So shadow work requires for you to face your discomfort. If you avoid them, let me rewind a little bit. Shadow work requires sitting in your discomfort and pain and embrace it as it is, not avoiding, not feeding, not fighting them, because that will only perpetuate the pain. That will only increase the layer. Remember the layers that I was talking about? The more layers you have, the more hidden the shadow is, the more the more dense it is, the more difficult it is for it to heal. But you know what? If that's what happened, it means it's meant to happen. So I changed my habits. Rewind a little bit. Not only avoiding, feeding, and fighting will perpetuate the pain, the shadow will also grow bigger. More layers, bigger shadow. One big example in my life would be my weight loss journey. Okay? One of my biggest shadow is self-judgment, overly negative self-talk. So, if you know me, I grew up to be very overweight, almost obese at one point, and until things slowly change, is that I was the worst at talking to myself. It's always negative, it's always toxic, abusive, and I would always shame and guilt trip myself whenever I don't fit in the clothing that I want to fit in, or whenever I think I don't look good. I would always criticize myself. The words that I used were so hurtful that I don't even want to say it right now. Woo! So yeah, coming into how I changed that. At one point, I was so done with my shit. This is how I started to change, and eventually I lost weight. Is that the shadow of me not willing to face. I'm trying to find the words here. I've been avoiding the shadow of not feeling safe in my body. That is also one. Sometimes when you're tackling shadow work, it's kind of like connected to other shadows. But that will be something for another day. So the shadow of not feeling safe in my body, the shadow of not feeling worthy of something better, of not enough-ness, of negative self-talk, self-judgment, whatever you call that. So I remember begging to be saved. I was so depressed in life at that time. I was begging to be saved. I was begging to be released from life. It was such a depressing period. But one day when I received my blood test result and I saw my weight, I was like, yo, I'm getting heavier and heavier and heavier every year. I can't go on like this anymore. I can't. I was looking at my cholesterol levels and all those things, sugar level. I was like, it's getting worse every year. And that really slapped me awake. And that began my weight loss journey. And I did things that I never thought I would have done, ever. So if you're in your healing journey and you're wondering why you're not making changes yet, why you're not feeling like it yet, trust in that process as well, because sometimes the delay is actually not a delay. It is something moving behind the scenes. Just that it hasn't manifested into something tangible just yet, but it is working behind the scenes energetically. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing that conscious improvements in your life, no matter how small. As long as you're moving forward, and even if you feel like sometimes you stumble, keep moving forward. Take a break, of course, be kind to yourself, and trust that it's all moving the needle. You're probably also planting seeds and it's growing, okay? So anyway, coming back to this, I changed my habits and lost weight by facing my shadows, not punishing myself. I was the best at punishing myself. Not by facing my shadows, not punishing and hating and shaming and guilt tripping myself. So because I was willing to face my shadow, I was doing the work. I started to look for healthy recipes. For some reason, I found a fitness instructor. Her name is Emily Sky. You can find her on Instagram, Facebook, Emily Sky Fit, Emily Sky. She's an angel. She changed the trajectory of my health. And because of that, I also entered the realm of weightlifting, even though it's been a few years since I weightlifted, but it was a pretty interesting journey I've had for about 6 months. 6 months? Only 6 months? Maybe. I'll get back into that. I most likely will get back into that, but yeah, that will be for another day. I changed my eating habits. I've learned to see and study the ingredients on a bottle or packaging before I purchase anything. I've learned so much that I kept those habits, and basically when you face your shadow, when you heal your shadow, it's not just about unconditional love and accepting yourself. It also means that you also take the inspired action towards improving yourself and healing yourself. And trust where you are being led. Trust where you are being led. Because everybody's journey is different, right? We all know that. Change may not happen right away. You may be facing your shadows, but you still don't see much results. Trust in the layers that you are slowly getting there. What I just said just now. Because when you are overanalyzing, it's not going to help you, of course. Because the mind loves to overanalyze and justify. It's like, why am I not here yet? Why am I not this yet? Why am I not fit yet? Why am I still unhappy? Why am I still... The mind will always analyze it. Or it could also be there are other layers that needs to come off in a different way that requires other habits to come true to heal a certain destructive behavior or behaviors that doesn't help you in order to change. Let's say weight loss journey. You're not just changing a bad habit of eating junk food. It can also be another habit that you need to change is the way you talk to yourself. So sometimes it's not just a linear thing. This requires a lot of deeper dive, but if you're feeling a bit lost, I would suggest that try to look for shadow work prompts. If you have a specific area that you're looking at, you could search shadow work prompts for loving my body, for being healthy, for negative self-talk. There'll be tons of it. Trust in your inner resourcefulness to get where you need to be. Trust in your inner resources to receive the guidance that you are meant to receive. Be open to receive. A lot of us have the tendency, at least I know I used to be, I have the tendency to limit myself when I feel powerless, whenever I feel like things are not working, whenever I feel lost and confused. I have the tendency to be like, oh, I don't know how to do this, oh, I'm lost, oh, it's so tiring, oh, I'm broke, oh, a lot of so-called excuses. But you know what? You have that inner resource to go to where you want to be, to receive that guidance, to open. Be open to receive. Be open. As long as you're open, you're basically an open channel for the universe to send you the angels, the guidance, and support to be there for you in your journey. I was open at the time. I was open. I was like telling God. I didn't believe in God back then, or things like universe or higher power or angels or whatever. I didn't believe in that back then, but I was in such a place where I had deeply surrendered, and I'm just like, God, if you are there, help me. I can't stand being like this anymore. That was my really short prayer. I've surrendered. I was open to receive, and here I am. I've been open ever since. There's bumps along the way, of course. Not to say everything was smooth, but because I was open, I became an open channel, and the support that I've been receiving, the things that I went through, was lighter. So when there's light, there's shadow. One cannot exist without the other. It's duality. It's not about eliminating your shadows completely. It's more about embracing and loving all parts of you. Not just the light. It's so easy to love the light, right? But the dark part, why do we see our darkness as a bad thing? Why is it bad? Because it's uncomfortable? Because it's difficult? Because it's perceived in society as a bad thing? You can perceive your shadow as a good thing, a teacher for you to grow and heal. for you to cultivate your wisdom. Alright, back. I just got cut off for a bit. So, where was I going just now? Like, it'll come back to me, I think, as a whole. Okay, it's so easy to perceive your darkness, your shadow as a bad thing just because society deems it as a bad thing, because it may be destructive, it may be toxic. Yes, to some capacity it is if you amplify it, right? But if you choose to perceive that as your teacher, your spiritual teacher, and from seeing that as your teacher, you will go really far. I got my wisdom not from reading books, not from listening to podcasts, not from learning a course. I got most of my wisdom from my experience, from facing my shadow, my deepest shit, and embracing my light as well. Of course, it's not just about embracing shadow, it's also embracing my light. So you are whole because you have your light and shadow. See your light as the unconditional love that's emitting within you. Watch it embrace your shadow with love and compassion. If you find it difficult to cultivate unconditional love, think of someone you really love or your pet. Use that frequency of love to shower onto your shadow. I would like to go on to a mini meditation to help you tune into that. And for those of you who are finding it difficult, this is a very mini practice that I do whenever I find it difficult, and it's for a quick way to raise my vibration and also help me ground into my body and help harmonize my frequencies. So get comfortable. You can do this later on, it's fine. You can just listen now, but don't do it when you're driving. Take a sip of water and get comfortable. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Take another deep breath in. And exhale. Exhale. Take another deep breath in, juicy breath in. Exhale everything out. And repeat in your mind, I recall all parts of me right here, right now, back into my body. I recall all parts of me back into my body right here, right now. This is to recall all of your energies that have been placed in different places in thought form or in physical back into your body in the present moment right now. Take another deep breath in. Exhale everything out. Let out a big sigh. That felt good, huh? Okay. you can take another deep breath if you want. Let it all out. Good job. I want you to imagine you're in a safest place. You can think of any place that you feel the most at peace or safe. Maybe it could be your favorite beach, your favorite room, maybe under the stars, your favorite garden, or a forest. Tune in right now. It can be an empty white space as well, if that works for you, if that helps you to clear your mind. That's it. You're doing amazing. If you find yourself feeling distracted by your thoughts, focus your attention back at my voice or your breath. You are alone in this space, and it is peaceful. So peaceful. There is nothing to do, nowhere to go, no responsibilities, nothing is waiting on you. You know you are here to take your sweet time, and you know you are safe to just be. You are completely safe here. You are completely at ease. If this is the first time you're doing this practice, know that you can do it even faster when you know the gist of it. It's just an overview of how you can tune into this frequency of peace and unconditional love. Especially if you find it hard to tune in, you can use this as a guide. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. It's so peaceful here. Now imagine someone that you love so much right in front of you. It can be a pet. It can be your inner child. It can be your children. It can also be your favorite flower that you love so much. Whatever that brings out the most love in you. Trust that. Don't doubt it. Don't judge it. If it's appearing in front of you, let it be. Trust that. Observe it. Observe it, him or her. Watch how it moves, or maybe the sound it makes. Watch the gestures that they're making. And you put on a smile on your face because you love it. You love them so much. You're feeling all the love for them, brimming, expanding. And now feel that love frequency just transferring into your heart space. And as you take a deep breath in, you inhale all the love into your heart and exhale. It feels so good. Notice how good it feels to feel that unconditional love. That is the kind of love your shadow self needs. That your shadow self needs. Take another deep breath in, inhale the love. Exhale. So nice. So good. Do you feel it? Inhale again. Feel free to embrace the person you love, the thing you love in front of you. Embrace them. Don't judge it. Embrace them if you want to. High five them if you want to. Play with them if you want to. Dance with them if you want to. Notice that love, unconditional love frequency in your heart as you do so. Let it expand out into your body, expand out into your space, expand out into the universe. Expand all your love out. I'm feeling it, guys. Are you feeling it? Yes, I know you do. Unconditional love is just a frequency away, and it is all that you need. It is all that your shadow self needs, your wounded self needs. At any given moment, you are triggered or hurt. Know that it is the part of you that needs love the most. You can use this practice to come back to it, to come back to the love frequency, unconditional love frequency. And I want you, for the next part, I want you to imagine your shadow self. You don't have to think too much about this. It can be just a silhouette of grayish or darkish matter, or whatever that comes to you, whatever that you see as your shadow self. It can be a silhouette, it can be your teenager self, it can be your inner child, it can be an orb of light or whatever it is. Trust that. See them in front of you. They may look like they are hurting. Their energy is low. They may be brimming with sadness and grief, loneliness, hurt, abandonment. Hold that frequency of love. You don't need to fix anything right now. Remember, the part of you that is hurting needs love the most. There's no fixing needed, no solution needed. There's no need to avoid. You are safe to be here with them. Now tune back into the unconditional frequency that you have before. It's still there. You may feel something rising, something fearful. You may feel that, but know that it's coming from your shadow self, the wounded part of yourself. Now, take that love frequency. Imagine it showering onto your shadow self in front of you. Take a deep breath in, inhale love. As you exhale, imagine it enveloping your shadow self, hugging them, loving them, embracing them. You can use your spirit body to embrace them lovingly. You can also embrace yourself right now if you feel the need to, because sometimes I know when facing your shadow it can be hard to bear. Just embrace them as they are. No need to label anything, no need to judge anything, no need to fix anything, just be. Your thoughts may be running wild right now. Remember coming back to your breaths or listen to my voice. Redirect your attention to the love frequency. Repeat this after me and imagine saying this to your shadow self. You can place your hand on your heart if you want to. You can hug yourself if you want to. Whatever that feels comfortable right now. And it helps right now. Whatever that helps you right now. Repeat after me. Tell this to your shadow self. You can do this any time of the day, anytime you like. You can write this down later on. Trust that the more you practice this, the more you practice compassion and speaking kindly to yourself, the easier it gets to be. And it gets to be a part of your life and a part of you. Now, repeat after me. I see you. I see you. I see you hurting. I see your pain. I want you to know that I'm here for you. I love you. I love you for who you are. I won't abandon you anymore. I want to understand you better. I'm willing to hold your hand wherever I go. I'm willing to take care of you, to help you, to heal you. I see how powerful and beautiful you are. You may not see it right now, but I see you. I see the light within you. I accept you for who you are. And I no longer blame you. I no longer resent you. I no longer hate you. I will never criticize and guilt trip you anymore. You are a part of me, and I'm a part of you. I'm sorry for all the times I've hurt and abandoned you. I'm deeply sorry for all the times that I've closed my heart to welcome you in. I'm sorry for all the times I've said such hurtful things to you. Forgive me. You may take your time to trust me again, but I promise that I will always be here for you. I promise I will do my best. I promise I will learn to love you and I will always learn to love you. I love and accept you for who you are, dear one. I love and accept you for who you are. You are so beautiful. You are so precious to me. I know how hard it can be. I'm sending you so much love and compassion. And together we shall thrive. We shall heal and soar. We're going to rise above fear. We're going to be such an amazing team towards the life of our dreams, towards, oh, I can already imagine all the things we can do together when we are on the same team. We are no longer separate. We are such a force to be reckoned with. We are so deeply powerful. You are so talented. You are. I promise I'll always hold your hand wherever I go. I love you. I love you. There's no need to hide anymore. I love you unconditionally. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Imagine your shadow self sighing as well. It felt so good to release. Now, you may welcome your shadow self to merge into you, because you are whole. Imagine that love frequency embracing your shadow self within you. Imagine the love frequency basking, marinating inside of you. Notice how you feel. If this is your first time or you're not so familiar with integrating your shadow, know that there may be some discomfort at first, but know that this is just part of the process. It's just part of the process. It gets easier. Now, one final breath in. And exhale. Pat yourself on the back. Pat yourself on the head. You're doing so amazing. I'm so proud of you. Take your time to open your eyes. And give yourself a big smile. You're doing so amazing. That was so impromptu. It just came to me that I wanted to do this mini meditation. I will see if I can, and I will see if I can make this into a separate audio. I'm just feeling so much in my heart right now, because I did notice that I had some resistance, my shadow self, for some reason. But know that resistance is normal. When it comes up occasionally, it's normal. And lean into that unconditional love. It's a practice. You may not feel that unconditional love much at this time, but trust that it is planting a seed and it will slowly grow bigger and bigger. Trust that. So I will wrap this episode up for today. And Let me know in the comments. Let me know, DM me, share this on your Instagram and tag me at I'm Christine Ong. Details are in the description. Let me know how this helps. If you like this meditation, I will it really inspire me to do more, and I'll see you in the next episode. I love you so much. Thank you for tuning in. I'm just so grateful and so happy to be here, just sharing my wisdom and experience with you and my story, and sharing this safe space with you. So take good care. Merry Christmas if you're celebrating. If you're not, it's fine too. And I'm sending you so much love and light. Bye.